but the whole purpose of this meeting is to address the issue of isolation and fitness in isolation. And I know that we're getting into in a place now where gyms are going to start reopening, and potentially, we can hopefully get back to our routines. But really what inspired me to do this was sitting down and thinking, I can't get to the gym. All my regular routines are going out the window, and I need to figure something else out. So I sat down, thought about all the things I've learned over all the years, and started to design some tools and some different strategies for myself to get my own workout in. And then as I was kind of sharing my struggles with other people, some of my friends would say, hey, yeah, that's a big issue for me too. And I kind of started to notice a reoccurring theme. So I thought, okay, well, let me see if I can put something together that will help everybody get their fitness in while they're still at home. And even as we transition back into an environment where the gyms are hopefully going to reopen and whatever fitness regime you might have might become more easily accessible, I'm hoping that this will still be beneficial for those type of situations where, maybe you don't feel comfortable returning to your current fitness regime, if you're going to a yoga studio or some sort of environment where you're going to be in close quarters and it's not something you feel comfortable with, or you are in an environment where you've gone away, you're in a hotel or something like that, and it kind of makes it a little bit challenging. So I'm just going to ask everybody if you can mute. Actually, I'll just mute everybody myself, and then we don't have to worry as much about noise coming through on the line. Thanks, guys, for letting me know. I appreciate that. If there's any issues, something comes up, just throw it in the chat there if you can type that up, or raise your hand. I don't know if you guys know how to do that little reaction thing on screen. You can do one of those. Yes, Kevin, you could actually do the the real life raise your hand, or do the digital raise your hand, or Ivy, the thumbs up, that works too. Hopefully I'll pick it up. I will pick it up eventually if you keep it up there for long enough. So, one of the first things I had to really deal with was motivation, because for me, my workouts are routine. I get up, I kind of eat, I go to the gym. I always have it planned every day. I've kind of worked it out when I'm going to do my workout regime. And even on days where it kind of gets bumped around, I still know more or less what I'm going to do. But now, all of a sudden, I was in a world where I don't have a regime, I don't have a workout plan. And even when I want to work out, I'm thinking, okay, what am I going to do today? I don't know. I don't have any weights. I don't have any equipment. And, I'd half-ass it through some mishmash of things. And I really had to kind of push myself. And so I realized the first thing that's necessary when one's working out in kind of non-traditional circumstances is the importance of reestablishing a routine of some sort. So that's one of the things I'm going to encourage everyone here to do, is if you're having some struggles trying to keep your fitness up, or whether this whole COVID situation has disrupted what you normally do, really focus on trying to get back to some sort of regular routine. It's a scheduled date with yourself whereby for sure, okay, it's 9 o'clock, I'm working out, I'm doing my thing, you block the time, and that makes it a lot easier to be consistent. One of the things that I also want to address is the issue of equipment. I've mentioned that a couple times now, that typically when we're at home, we don't have a lot of equipment, or people have different sets of equipment. So I'm going to address most of the exercises from a body weight perspective. So these are all exercises that can be done with literally no equipment. And a few of the exercises I'm going to demonstrate, I'm going to show I've designed some weights just so that, hey, if you do want to get some resistance or you want to push yourself a little bit harder, we can do that. So I'm just going to show you what I put together. So I don't know if you guys can see this, but not very sexy, but this is a 4-liter milk jug. I've filled it with sand, and I have two of them. So I'm gonna use these just to show, back up a little bit to just so you can have a little bit of a view from here. And I'm going to demonstrate doing what we call a military press. So I just bring these up to my shoulders, my elbows a little bit in front of my body, and then, I push up from there, bring it back down. And the key to this exercise is really keeping my torso tight, engaging the core, making sure that I'm not, off center or wobbling. And then, I can use these to get myself a fairly decent little shoulder workout. So we're going to definitely incorporate those a few times. For those of you who might, Ivy, I like it. I don't know if that's quite what I had in mind, but any kind of weight is going to work. This is why I brought out this, because, after I ate my box of Pringles, I thought, well, now that I've got an extra little around the middle, I got to get rid of it. So I filled up my box of Pringles with sand again, and this is a little bit of a lighter approach to the situation. So I think this one's 3-4 pounds, and so especially if you're doing some of the I'm out of the camera. Especially if you're doing some of the exercises that I'm going to suggest later on, where you're doing the weights far from your body, and that means there's a lot of leverage on the joint. Using a lighter weight will be helpful. And then last up, in my little menagerie of weights, I've got my knapsack. So just to show you guys, I don't know if I can see it, but yeah, so my knapsack is full of magazines or books. You can put anything in it that just increases the mass, and that gets me up to 25 pounds. So again, this was one of my ways of addressing doing my back, because now I can bend over and pull up on the straps. So any kind of bag with straps is good. And this allows you to get that resistance, which is a little tricky working your back when you don't have equipment. So let's move a little bit forward, and I'm going to actually address the exercise that we were just talking about, which is the front arm raise. So I'm going to kind of work through a number of different exercises, kind of starting from the top, work my way down to the bottom, and that by the end of this meeting, we're going to have an exercise for each of the major body parts, which you can use to build your own workout, or I can work with you offline, well, not literally offline, but we can go off and have our own kind of breakout session at another point where I can help you design your own workout, or you can use some of these exercises to replicate a workout that you've already been doing. Let's say you are at the gym, you have a bench press, etc., or you used to using the military press at the gym. We can work out something with all of these exercises. So the first exercise is one for the shoulders. So the shoulders are comprised, the official name is the deltoids, and you have your front deltoid, which is the muscle, this side. You have the medial deltoid, which runs right down the middle, and then you have the posterior deltoid. So typically, when you're kind of getting into your workout, you want to have exercises that hit all three of the heads of that particular muscle. And the thing to really focus on is that the shoulder is really, really important, because it comes into play in pretty well most of your upper body exercises. And the shoulder joint allows the most range of motion of any of the joints. So the issue that presents is that it's the most susceptible to injury. And I know my friend Graham here is on, and he has a shoulder injury, as I have a shoulder injury on my left side. And if you don't make the rotator cuff, which is all the muscles that surround your shoulder joint, really strong, you're susceptible to having damage and tears, which, believe me, are a serious pain in your shoulder. So to start off with, we do a lateral, or what we call an anterior raise, frontal raise. So bringing the weight from my waist just straight up in front of me. You don't have to go past 90 degrees, just coming up. and that's going to work this front head of your deltoid. If you want to do a lateral raise, which is out to the side, you can just use the same weight. The side movement is one that's going to get the middle head of your deltoid. And now to get the back, you can bend over, which helps me adjust my camera. So if you can see, I'm bending at 90 degrees, and going this way allows me to get the work in my arm. So I have a few videos as well up on my Instagram, and let's see if this is going to work. I'm going to share a couple of these just so that you guys can see what I'm talking about. And where did I put it? Okay, there it is. All right, I'm going to share my screen and let me know if you have any issues with seeing this. All right, so hopefully everybody can see that. So this is what I was talking about before. When I posted this on Instagram, I thought, hey, let's have a little fun, and we're going to use wine bottles. So we're all in isolation. I figured, given that liquor sales are up, everybody has wine bottles lying around the house. Let's use that for lateral arm raises instead. And you can see here that this is really firing my muscles on the back side of my muscle joint, of my shoulder joint, if you're watching, and keeping it really strict, not bobbing up and down with my torso. I've got a little flex in my quads here, and that's it for that one. We'll do another one. I've got the other version, which is the front arm raise. Same idea. Again, I'm using my wine bottles just to show you that really anything that can provide you some resistance, those two wine bottles together are probably about 4 or 5 pounds, which was sufficient for me to do what I needed to do. Now let's see if I can get back to you guys without losing it. Stop share, let's see. Oh, look at that. Technology, isn't it marvelous? All right. So we've done our deltoids. So we've got the front, middle, and back. Then the next muscle I want to look at, moving down from still in the shoulder area, is going to be your traps or trapezius. That's kind of more the official name for it. Now this one's pretty easy to work, but it's however one that a lot of people ignore because they just don't think about it. What you want to do is get underneath something that's relatively heavy, like a table or a couch or anything like that. You're going to hook your hands underneath the edge of it, and then you're going to shrug your shoulders up towards your ears. So the thing to think about here is that a lot of people are going to, they're going to jut their head forward, or they're going to kind of pull their head down as they bring their shoulders up. You want to keep your head in a neutral position and raise your shoulders to your ears, not bring your head down into your shoulders. All right. So that's the traps. We're going to, next one, oops, I didn't get myself back into this frame. Yeah, there we go. Next, the exercise I want to look at, moving down again, is the pectorals. So normally in the gym, I do bench press, I do incline bench, those are kind of some of my staple exercises. But now, I'm going back to the tried and true, the push-up. But however, I want to do something a little more creative than just the regular push-up. You can just do your regular shoulder width apart, go down into your push-up. But here I'm going to show you a few variations that are a little bit different than that. So this one, oh, I haven't shared my screen. Give me 2 seconds. Share a screen. And bam, share. And there we go, sharing. All right, so here we are. you can see my hands are a lot wider than they normally would be. Typically, I would have my hands right about here on either side underneath my shoulders, but I've taken this wide of a stance because that is going to target my chest muscles a lot more. Now, if I take the inverse of that, which is go with a really narrow stance here, this is going to be working on my triceps instead. So this is really focuses on the tricep part of my arms. Now we could also have individual tricep exercises, but we don't need to do that because a lot of these exercises will target the triceps as a secondary muscle. And this last position is to work on our shoulders again. If you pike up and then come straight down, keeping this sort of 90-degree position here and come down, touch your head and come back up, that also allows you to work your shoulders. Hold on, I've got a couple of people sitting in the waiting room, and those guys are in. All right, awesome. So we're now back to, and the other thing to think about with your push-up is, let me see if I can get the angle here. So normally I'm pushing up right here. If I want to work more this upper portion of my chest, because the push-up really, the line is about here. That's where you're getting the most emphasis in your pectorals. And if I do a push-up with my hands just a little in front, that's going to emphasize the upper portion of my chest and just give me a little bit more fullness up here and lift my pectorals, a little bit higher, which is, it's good for both of us. For the men and the women, it's always good to have a little lift in your chest. So the next thing we are going to take a look at, I was going to say, I don't know if I can show it in here. No, it's not going to work. But one of the other things we can do is put two chairs facing each other, and then you can sit on one chair facing backwards and then lie backwards onto the opposite chair, and that way you can do flies, this type of a motion. So just visualize that I am lying on my chairs and I'm doing this motion, and that would be a time when I'd want to use my lighter weights, because anytime I have the weight far away from the midline of my body, I want to use lighter weights because you're creating a lot of leverage stress at the joint and you don't want to get injured. So I could do this type of motion on my chair, and that will also really work my pectoral muscle. All right, so let's go. We're going to switch gears a little bit and go over onto our backs. And I've got one exercise I really want to show you guys that I think is really good, is the elbow pike. I'm going to share my screen here. And there we go. Hold on. Yeah, here we go. So I'm pushing my elbows into the ground. I'm really using that leverage to get my back up off the ground. I'm squeezing my shoulder blades together, and that's how I lift myself up off the mat. There's a tendency with this exercise to use one's abs to sit up, but you really don't want to do that. You really want to focus on using the squeeze between your shoulder blades to get yourself off the mat. And this is a really great exercise to work your back, because that's often neglected in these types of workouts. All right, so we're back.
John, are you sharing?
Oh, yeah, I was sharing. I just stopped sharing. Did you not see that?
We saw with document plus your with a lot of.
Okay, let's try that again. I put it up on the wrong screen. So let's try elbow prone.
Must be testing if we're attention. We are paying attention.
Exactly. All right, let's try this again. Here we go. All right, can everybody see the video now? I think you should be able to see it. So this is what I was trying to talk about, this driving your elbow into the ground to get your chest off the ground. And really what we're focusing on here is squeezing our shoulder blades together, which is what gives us that push to get up off of the ground. All right. Oh, were you guys able to see that? Thumbs up. Did that worked? Okay. Awesome. Now I'm just gonna skip ahead. There's another back exercise that we can do, which is a door jam. This one's pretty good as well. I'm going to share this for you guys so you can see this, and make sure I give you the right screen this time. And there we go. So here, this is going to be working your lats, which are this big muscle that runs down your side of your back. If you lean back, like I'm doing right here, and then kind of sink into it as you pull yourself towards the door frame, that will really engage this muscle. And that's a cheat way of doing a lat pull when you don't have a machine to assist you with that, because that's typically how we would do it most of the time. All right, and so we've done our shoulders, we've done our chest, we've done a couple of exercises for our back. Now continuing to move down, we can get into our abs. I'm not going to go through a whole bunch of ab workouts, because most people know how to do a sit-up and can kind of wrap their head around that idea. The one thing that I would say for a little bit more of an advanced move would be doing a crunch type of a sit-up with a twist. So I'm going to put that one up just so you guys can see it. But I have like a whole ab blaster workout on my Instagram, which I will share in the chat so you guys can check that out if you want to later. So here we go with the crunch with a twist. And the twist is important because it targets these muscles on your sides, which are your obliques, and gives you that kind of cut that you see coming down to define my lats and my abdomen there. And I'm using the medicine ball here just to give myself a little bit extra resistance, but you can literally use anything. And my medicine ball is 25 pounds, but this book is probably 2 or 3, and even that makes a difference. And see how I have my feet off the ground the entire time? That's what you want to do to keep that tension in your stomach while you're doing an ab crunch. All right, and then okay, we're going to go into, I'm running out of time here. I want to get into the bottom half of the body. There are a few exercises here that I would really focus on, but I'm not going to show all the videos for them, but we can do squats is typically something that I would do. You can do a squat pretty simply at home. You can hold the milk jug cartons in either hand to give yourself some extra resistance if just doing body weight squats isn't enough for you. Or you can put the knapsack on and squat with that, and that will also make a big difference as far as you feeling the burn through your legs. Walking lunges are also really good. You want to make sure that you're sinking low enough into the lunge so that you're getting down to 90 degrees. And at that 90-degree point is where you're going to really feel the engagement in your glutes, and that's that's how you get that nice round butt that everybody's looking for. And I want to show a couple of things here that will give you the idea of what I'm talking about. There it is. Okay, give me 2 seconds. I'm going to share my screen again, and bang, bang. So this is a glute bridge. And see how my hips are high? That's the position we want to get into. And this really works on your glutes. Once you get into that erect position where your hips are fully extended, you want to squeeze your butt cheeks together. And when you pull that position, you're going to really feel the tension in your butt, and you're going to know you're doing something. It's also a secondary muscle that's working are the hamstrings here as well. And if you want to make it a little bit more challenging, you can extend your leg, which I'm doing here, and that therefore brings more focus onto the leg that's still on the ground, on the hamstring and the glute on that side. All right, and we're back. Okay, awesome. And then the last one that I want to show you on the leg side of the equation is what I call a frog glute bridge, which sounds like a funny name, but there's a good reason for it, as you'll see in a couple of seconds. So, frog glute bridge. We start with our legs splayed, sort of like a frog, and then we push up into the glute bridge position from there. Now, the difference between that and the last one is that this is really going to work your gluteus medius, which is the outer butt muscle. The butt is made up of three muscles: the glute max, the glute medius, and the glute minimus. And the medius and the minimus don't tend to get specifically targeted a lot, but this one especially really helps to round out, the muscle fibers in your butt and makes you a lot stronger. So I like this exercise for that reason. And we're back. So we've gone over, and then we get down into our calves. So there's a few exercises that we can go over for hamstrings, but I'm not going to go into that right now. Just in the interest of time, that I'm pushing up against the 30 minutes that I had initially allotted for this. So I just want to quickly go through the idea of program creation. So how do we take all those exercises that we just looked at and actually make a fitness program out of them? So it kind of depends on a few questions, but the first of which is, what are your goals? What are you trying to accomplish? Are you trying to lose weight? Do you want to build muscle mass? Do you want to get leaner? Do you just want to be in better shape overall? I'm going to give you an example just from the point of view of the everyman type of a workout, which says, okay, I want to build a little bit of muscle, but I don't want to get too big. I want to have some definition, and I want to trim some of the excess that I have around my middle. So I would say to that individual, you're going to need to work out probably minimum of 3 days a week. We would design a full body workout. So that would mean we're going to have an exercises for all the major body parts going up and down the body. So that the way I designed it, I said, okay, we're going to do 3 sets of everything. We're going to do push-ups to start. We're going to change the stance for each of our sets. So we're going to start wide push-ups for one set, narrow for another set, and extended for the last set. And then we're going to go into our prone elbow pushes, so that works our back. Then we're going to do the pike push-ups to do our shoulders. We could also add in some biceps and triceps, but that's not entirely necessary. It just depends on how much time you have. And then we go through our ab routine. We could just do the crunches if we wanted to keep it simple. And then from there, we'd go into doing squats. And I didn't show you guys a single leg deadlifts, but that's one of the other exercises I have in there. And then we could wrap it all up with some walking lunges and calf raises. So that type of a workout, those are all exercises that I have examples of there. I have videos for them all up on my Instagram page, which is, actually I'm going to type it up here so you guys can see it, at Diesel Fitness 25. I just put it into, I just sent it to Ivy because she was the last person who messaged me. But let me do it here again. 25. That's my Instagram handle. And all of these exercises are up there and in actually more detail. So the last thing I want to touch on, I'm over time right now, but I'll only take probably 3 minutes to go through the message, is diet. The biggest part of losing weight especially is your eating. And one of the challenges that a lot of people have is not scheduling their eating, so they eat randomly all over the day and they don't really know what they're consuming. So first, if you put some sort of routine around your eating, it'll make it a lot easier to stay on track. And then also, if you're keeping track of it, you'll also be aware. It's amazing how much, once you write it down or you can take a picture of it, just somehow record what you're eating in a day, you kind of go, holy smokes. Even when I did it, I realized I'm eating more than I probably should be. So the primary thing that you want to do don't skip meals, and try to eat at regular intervals. Don't skip breakfast. That's critical. You've been starving your body for 8 hours while you're sleeping. You wake up, your body's hungry. If you don't eat, the next time you eat, it's going to go, we haven't eaten forever. We just better hoard this stuff and hold on to it. And that's how you make your body hold on to fat and to store fat, because if you're not eating on a regular basis, your body is always trying to store for that, next starvation period. Then the next thing is to build what I call a calorie box, and we all have it, and most of us is unconscious, which is you eat more or less the same amount every day, and you're just not aware of what you're eating. So if you're trying to change your body, if you're trying to get leaner, if you're trying to lose some weight, then just shrink your calorie box just a little bit. That means instead of drinking a liter of juice, I drink, a little bit less than that. If I normally eat 6 cookies, I eat 4 cookies. So my philosophy is not that you have to deprive yourself and deny yourself the things that you enjoy. Just do a little bit less. And if you're patient, that will add up over time and result in changes to your body. So the last thing I'm going to leave you guys with, which is in my last 60 seconds that I've gone over time for my 5 minutes already, is to say thank you for everybody taking the time out of their day to come and listen to what I have to say. And initially I was going to do this as a smaller group, have 3, 4, 5 people where there'd be more kind of feedback back and forth, and I could kind of get into each individual person's situation in more detail. But I thought, I had a bunch of people ask me about it, and I thought, okay, we'll do a larger group setting. And in order to still honor that whole, let's have some more direct feedback where I can talk to you about what you're trying to do specifically, I am offering that everybody can contact me and we will do a personal consult. So normally, I charge for doing a consult, but I'm going to waive the fee for everybody who's on this call. You have my email address. Just send me a message, or you can go to SeanMillington.com. I have a sign up form there, Sean.com. And it's a very basic page, so don't judge me for that. I'm not a web designer, but it does the job. If you want to sign up, just either send me an email or sign up through the page and let me know that you want to have a consult, and we can talk about your specific situation. I can help you to work out some sort of workout regime or some sort of workout program that's going to fit your needs, whether that's incorporating the weights back at the gym or just doing something at home. So I'm 6 minutes over, but hopefully that was of some value to you guys. And thank you very much for everyone taking your time out this evening to come and hang out with me for a little bit. I really appreciate it.